Avast, ye scurvy dogs. It's BBI, the OGGM, and here be a picture of an undead monkey pirate. I don't even understand. But anyways, it's Wednesday, so it's time to take a look at all the tabletop role-playing game crowdfunding projects that are coming to an end this week as we go into the beginning of the major convention season. All these projects are about to reach an end of their funding, but you still have a chance to support them. So if any of these sound like something you want to invest in, head on over to one of the many Kickstarter crowdfunding pages that are out there and, toss a coin to your favorite small independent publisher or not so small independent publisher. From Privateer Press for the Iron Kingdoms, we have the Nightmare Empire. This is a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. $50 is the most popular pledge. It's for the D&D 5e conversion of Iron Kingdoms. If you remember, I list Iron Kingdoms as one of the not Wizards of the Coast 5e product lines that I think actually is perfect for 5e and a better system to play 5e in than D&D, quote unquote. Anyways, this is a adventure set in the world of the Iron Kingdoms, which is a sort of a steampunky, piratey, gear robot, wild magic thing. It's hard to explain, but yeah, it's awesome. From Paradigm Concepts we have Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, a source book for something called Arcanus 5e. This is the campaign setting Runic edition. This is $50 for the most popular pledge. It basically adds a lot of new magic and clerical spells and classes and takes on classes and a whole bunch of new things for 5e spell casting nonsensey fun. All with a Greek myth theme, if I remember correctly. Greek and Roman myth. So if you remember, Arcanus 5e is the idea of what if D&D had been written based upon Greek and Roman myths, and then, what if the Roman Empire had never fallen, and here's this world, and then I guess this adds a whole bunch of new clerics and paladin stuff specifically for that world, but you could use them for any 5e world. From Ulysses Spiel for Fading Suns, 4th edition, we have Lost Worlds. This is a source book. $35 is the most popular pledge. This is a book of lost planets and other things for the Fading Suns universe. There's a name you don't hear very often. It's a sort of space fantasy kind of weird world sort of thing. The original Fading Suns came out during the OGL years, if I remember correctly. I'm drinking water. And yeah, so I don't know. After my talk yesterday about how Spelljammer should be space horror, it might be a good time to take a look at some of the other projects that have come out for fantasy space, D&D space, weird space, and space horror. From Laurie O'Connell, we have Hieronymus, Garden of Earthly Delights edition, which a very weird painting as the cover. It's a core rulebook for $35. This is an art and game book. You escape into the mysterious worlds of the paintings of Hieronymus Bosch. It's a hex crawl with, I guess, new takes on the typical D&D classes, but it's fantasy in the very bizarre nightmare world of the paintings of Hieronymus Bosch. If you've never seen the paintings of Hieronymus Bosch, they're, interesting. Very anachronistic. Some would say nightmare fuel. Not sure if there is a market for a tabletop role-playing OGL fantasy game based upon the paintings of Hieronymus Bosch, but yeah, I guess. I'll post a link to the artwork of Hieronymus Bosch, so if you've never seen his stuff, you can take a look. From EN Publishing, we have for 5th edition 65 Enchanted Trees Trinkets. This is a source book. It's $7 is the most popular pledge. And it's a whole bunch of new magic items, but they're not really magic items, they're trinkets. So trinkets are like minor magic items. There's lots of those in Xanthers. They've appeared in other 5e projects. So like while a +1 sword would be a magic item, a trinket might be a cloak that always billows if there's wind, even when there's not. So you always look cool. So yeah, they're like, you know, cool minor magic items that you could toss out. They come in, looks like they're cards. Could be fun. I don't know. From the Merry Mushman, we have a Folklore Beastry. This is a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and old school essential source book. $33 is the most popular pledge. 40 new monsters for 5e or OSE. So you have the 5e stats and the OSR OSE stats. So best of both worlds. Yeah. If you need some new monsters for your 5e game, or if you're an OGL OSE fan and need some new monsters, here we go. From Urban Realms, we have Labrum of Lists, adding detail to your fantasy worlds. This is a source book for fantasy. It's a $22 most popular pledge. It adds 150 new magic items, 9 new ancestries, monsters, organizations, loot, and more for any of your 5th edition D&D or OGL D&D. So it's also usable with Pathfinder, Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, and the OGL. So it's got stats in 5e and stats for the OGL Pathfinder. Interesting. We're seeing a lot more games doing this. I guess a lot more companies are realizing that, you know, there is a market out there for the OGL. Despite somebody saying otherwise. More and more companies are saying, here's my product for 5e and everybody else. Which is really what you should do. And finally, we have a convention that's looking for support. This is called Big Bad Con. It's scheduled to happen in October in San Francisco. And it's looking for pledges to make sure it actually happens. So if you live in the San Francisco area and you want another gaming convention, and here is one that was looking for your support, so you could go and support them to make sure it actually happens. Nothing really stands out this week as great other than the Iron Kingdoms. Nothing really stands out as awful this week. The weirdest one might be the Hieronymus Bosch one. Yeah, I really don't know about that one. Other than that, yeah, okay. Nothing that I'm like really offended by or think is really stupid, and nothing that really just jumps out at me and goes, yeah, you need to buy this. But with all the conventions coming up, that's to be expected. If any of these projects sound like something you want to back, contact your favorite Kickstarter crowdfunding website and invest. And hopefully you get some cool free shit out of it. Till next time, I'm the OGGM, or whoever it is I am. I obviously need some more caffeine. It's this fog, man. It just, you know, my brain's mush as it is. And then when it gets weather like this, my brain just like gets 100% worse. Till next time, I will talk to you later. And stay safe, stay warm, stay healthy, stay happy, and stay off my land, you damn kids.